Just a little magic. Grow.
Unicorn, grant me strength!
I'm not ready.
Oh, yeah, I see. It has to be cursed unicorn blade. It has to be unicorn blade down Belatra. Nothing else works.
Focus your mind.
I guess that's what the bad ending is. You get this far and find, oh, we can't do anything about that.
My legs grow heavy.
We got a carnelian pendant. Apparently you can farm these things by repeating the final boss over and over again. Not sure I'd want to.
I'm sorry. I can't.
Whilst I still feast on the souls of Zenoira, my might is eternal!
Do you not seek their resurrection?
A witless ideal, born of the fool Galerius. He served his purpose well enough in prizing open the gate to the beyond. And now, he shall be consumed like all the rest. What's more, there would be little benefit in reviving mere humans.
Do the souls of your brethren mean nothing to you?
As fuel for my magic, most certainly. What primitive evil should I reanimate next, I wonder? A monster capable of crushing Fevris beneath its heel, perhaps?
You're the monster.
Spirits of Zenoira, hear my call. Your emperor is no more, and in his place, a tyrannical fiend who craves nothing but absolute control. Tell me, is this what you truly desire? To sacrifice your very essence in service of this demon?
Pathetic child.
Souls of the departed, if you've any humanity left within you, lend me your aid!
You really shouldn't have said that out loud until you'd won.
Their strength is leaving me. You've ruined everything, accursed fool!
These souls are not a power one can wield, Baltro. They are human lives, human will in its purest form.
Impossible! The city's very nature has been recast! How is this happening?
It appears we arrived just in time.
You could have shown up a little bit earlier, but I'm not complaining. Deus Ex Machina last minute, sure.
This isn't how my tale concludes. I won't allow it!
You don't get a choice.
The only escape awaiting you, Ultra, is death's cold embrace.
Wretched disciples! You dare turn on your master!
The time has come again.
Let us lift the curse of the unicorn and bring the salvation of heaven to these lost souls!
I'm with you.
Nihility beckons. All of my knowledge, all of my research, lost to the endless emptiness of time.
Don't worry, we got a lantern out of you. We'll make good use of it.
Eternal gratitude on behalf of every Zenoiran souls who have ever lived. Thank you, Alain, and farewell.
Ah, so many archive entries. Light of Feathereth. Trophy earned.
Ah, there you are. Your coronation is set to commence at any moment.
A word first, if I may. With the much-awaited fall of Zenoiran rule, we finally attained our most coveted dream. 'Twas a vow I made to the ring itself. A promise fashioned out of steel and blood. Yet, can a champion tempered in the flames of war truly lead in times of peace?
Probably not, but you're pretty idealistic.
From the day of its very inception, Your Highness, the Liberation Army has boasted a singular gift. Its ranks born nobles, sellswords and civilians alike. Disparate nations united as one under a common banner. Your banner. None could ever question the strength of such a leader.
He speaks the truth, you know.
Shouldn't you still be in charge since you aren't actually dead? Actually, how did you survive when we fought you in Chapter 1? We did kill Galerius at the time.
Should you not be sound in bed right now?
And miss the day my son is crowned king? I wouldn't so much as dream of it. Alain, you stand before me a man full grown. One who will rule these lands with compassion and love. Just as you've done for all those who fought beside you. Be proud, my son. Not only of what you accomplished, but how you've made it so.
I will, Mother. Thank you both, from the depths of my heart. Now then, a radiant future for Cornea awaits.
Here, have an epilogue entry.
Year 906 of the Hallowed Chronicle. Thus, with all of Fevereth as his witness, a bold young king ascended the throne. Ere long, the scourge of Galerius and ancient Zenoira would be little more than footnotes on the pages of history.
Don't skip.
And those scars of war yet blighted the land. Its people, awed and inspired by Cornea's noble ruler, began their arduous trek down the path to recovery. Forevermore would the chronicles of Fevereth extol the Savior Alain's sacred journey, a legend only embellished in the generations to come. That of a divine beast and a liberator king that bore its name, the unicorn Overlord.
Why do I get the feeling I'm going to be tied down in cutscenes for quite some time? Well, we have closing credits now. Don't know whether this is the time to give thoughts on a project though, because I didn't really show most of the game, I just showed the ending and the beginning. This is such a time sink game though. I could spend hours, and I did, I could spend hours just grinding to get cool extra stuff. Like, rapport. I did enjoy getting a lot of rapport right up until I actually did the Rite of Unicorn and Maiden, which then it kind of taints a lot of Alain's final ranks. That kind of turned me off it there. Eventually I just decided, no, I am actually going to outlevel the final boss, and I did. I needed to actually fix that just needed to lock in and do this, and do it before the end of the year, because I do have my end of year project of gaming in this year. And this year I was thinking I'll make it about challenges that I conquered. Maybe not fun challenges, but challenges I did conquer. Yes, On the Mouse is going to be present. As is Unicorn, Overlord, Limbus Company. I had other ideas, but I can't remember them off the top of my head. I guess Joseph is going to be our father figure here, since we don't have an actual father. Here, have a JPEG. Why is Santonio in the main group? Actually, what determines who shows up in these groups, I wonder? There's apparently supposed to be epilogue text talking about what they get up to after the game, and apparently there's some controversy about some of the endings, like Pastoria goes straight back to its old ways of having a were lion in charge, despite the fact there are no were lions left. I know we did see one in the battle, that gets explained then. Santonio takes over the bishopry even though Scarlet is still around, and he's already kind of shown that he's not fit to rule. Oh, we're getting voice actor credits for all the mercenaries too. Narration. That was very short credit sequence. I think this is where it talks about epilogues. Yep, the credits ain't over yet. I kind of want to see a challenge run where you beat it without any promotion units. It sounds absolutely... okay, after war, Lex left rule of Cornea to Alain and set forth to hone his mastery of the blade. Whenever he encountered former allies, he and they would just spar as they did during their prior days with the Liberation. Though there was great distance between him and Alain, the bond of their friendship remained strong as ever. Lex swore to brandish his sword for his king should the need ever arise. Chloe. With the war concluded, Chloe chose to serve Alain as his chief lady-in-waiting, rather than return home to her family in Cornea. In this role, she oversaw the domestic needs of the kingdom, though she never kept her spear far from hand in case of crisis. At times, she could be seen reminiscing with her old friends at the Knights' Barracks, practice which Alain himself would join when the ideal moment presented itself. After the war, Hodrick was granted a post as captain of the Cornean Royal Guard, a role which saw him dedicate great attention to the growth of his soldiers and to their unshakable unity. At times he and his mentor Joseph partook in intense sparring bouts which never failed to draw onlookers to the training hall. Though offered the role of Chancellor due to his immense efforts in protecting the prince and shepherding the liberation to victory, Joseph declined and instead chose to see out his days as the king's personal blade. Ever a stern leader, he worked tirelessly to train the soldiers that would serve as Cornea's new guardians, and ensure the kingdom would remain safe long after his eventual passing. Renaud returned to the land he had once ruled under Zenora's magic, and though some would never forgive his cruel treatment, others came to see the sincere regret with which he faced their resentment. His commitment towards starting anew saw him grow into a fine leader with an eye forever focused on the future, unhindered by the tragic failings which plagued his past. Ah yes, our trio of knights. Clive. Declining a position within the Royal Guard, Clive returned to the province of the Ashen Blue and began work on establishing a new form of self-governance with his fellow knights. His bold philosophy, which espoused the virtues of collective rule over a single authority, soon spread throughout the province, from knights of its order to the farmers in the fields. After the war, Adele returned to the province of the Ashen Blue a decorated hero, beloved by his fellow knights and townsfolk alike. His bright demeanour saw him ever remain popular, playing with local children during the day and partaking in revelry at the province's lively taverns by night. In the end, he chose out to live his days as a beloved knight in company of his people. When the Liberation disbanded, Berenice set out to travel Cornea and hone her skills, hunting bandits and aiding in reconstruction all the while. Years later, she was welcomed back to the province of the Ashen Blue, where she chose to settle down and become an instructor in military arts, thus giving rise to the mightiest army the province has ever known. Alright, these untied peoples. It would be very lonely if you didn't recruit anyone, I think. Rolf. His role with the Liberation concluded, Rolf's reputation as a brave hunter earned him a post as guardian of Cornea's forests. This duty saw him not only defend the land from wild beasts and poachers, but tend to the natural bounty of the region and heal the scars of battle inflicted across the woodlands. Such benevolent deeds brought him nigh endless praise from the people he served. After the war, Morden abandoned his life as a mercenary and lived on as a humble stonemason. While the reconstruction of Barba Timo was his first priority, he eventually turned his gaze toward the pursuit of aesthetics, and creation of ever more elaborate architectural projects. The stunning facades which line the main thoroughfare of his home, thus given the name Morden Road upon his eventual passing, was beloved by all for generations to come. Orch. Upon reading off a list of his accomplishments with the Liberation at his mother's graveside, Orch departed on a journey of fervent magical research, never to return to his homeland again. The theses he enumerated later in life came to be treasured as a comprehensive compendium for hopeful sorcerers who as of yet lacked the requisite background in magical arts. After the war, Jeremy quietly departed the Liberation and returned to his life as a mercenary, wherein no matter the danger he found himself in, his quick wit and years of experience always saw him to safely. Upon completion of a particularly lucrative job with a few old faces from the war, he and his men drank an entire tavern dry and were thus written in the pages of mercenary legend. Now we have our more major city over there. Ah yes, Knights of the Blue Rose, of course. Miriam. With Cornea restored, Miriam was named captain of the Knights of the Rose, a role which saw her dignified air and indisputable military prowess earn her the adoration of rising female knights both within her nation's borders and abroad. With a newly placed emphasis on collective strength, the Knights of the Rose quickly grew to be one of the most coveted orders in the land. After the war, Kitra continued to serve in the Knights of the Rose, while also taking up a post guarding the people of Grand Corrine. Whenever trouble struck, she and her hammer were always quick to the scene, much to the delight of onlooking citizens. As a skilled craftswoman, she also aided in rebuilding the city, and enjoyed unique popularity amongst the local children due to her sharp wit and fiery attitude. Fran. Though her efforts in the war saw Fran offered a commanding role in the Knights of the Rose, she politely declined, stating she would prefer to stand as an equal rather than a superior. Retaining this status granted her the latitude to charge into battle to rescue her allies at a moment's notice, a fact which all who knew her agreed was for the best. Chloe was supposed to try and join the Knights of the Blue Rose, but I guess there was just a bit of fluff text and wasn't supposed to go anywhere. Oh yes, these guys. more unaffiliated but still Cornian. Melisandre. With peace returned to Cornia, Melisandre slipped past Elaine's watchful advisors day after day in order to request his hand in marriage. While her wish never came to pass, the beauty and vigour of her spirited blade were the highlight of many a royal banquet, and thus stole the hearts of countless guests. Colm. After the war, House Millier began to reclaim its former glory, a pursuit that Colm enjoyed even more than Lady Melisandre herself. Though she always posed him an array of challenges, the fact that Cornia's new king was the object of her affection presented an endless struggle for her faithful steward. Monica. In light of Monica's deeds with the liberation, the noble house Nordheim's name was restored to its rightful place of honour and respect. Her calm demeanour, stately dedication, and moral clarity earned her the fierce support of her people, the groundswell which only grew after her grandfather's passing. While she bore great commitment toward helping her people, she never forgot to honour her vassals in annual stargazing festival for which she was responsible for creating. Maybe that's part of her support, her reports that I never got. And now we jump to Drakenhold. I'm sure Travis has something to say. Oh wait, no, these guys first. Primhilda and Aramis. After the war, Aramis saw to it that Gilbert was crowned king and left Sol Draga to support his brother in the restoration of Drakenhold, taking the guise of a mercenary, a stage actor, a sailor, and much more along the way. In the centuries to follow, local legends throughout the nation told hosts of men named Aramis, who appeared to help when the land seemed to be at its most vulnerable. With the war concluded, Hilda laid down her spear and pursued an expertise in medicine so she may aid those who still suffered. After years of ardent study, she became an apothecary and joined Prim in caring for the sick and infirm throughout Fevrith. Forevermore would history speak of countless lives she and her sister saved astride her gallant, loyal wyvern. Similarly, Prim's attention turned to after the war toward the ailing people of Fevrith, in supporting Hilda's dogged pursuit of medical knowledge however she could. Her work caring for the infirm eventually led the Orthodoxy to bestow upon her the title of Honorary Angel, an accolade which Prim could only humbly decline. And then these desert pack rats. Liza is a mainstay because Arbalest is way too good a unit. With the war concluded, Orban donated his earnings to the people of Drakenhold's desert, and took up the task of rebuilding his home. Soon enough, towns in the region grew prosperous indeed, and the land once known for its crime and banditry began to flourish under Orban's benevolent leadership. After years in the desert, he acquired a ship and sailed the oceans in search of new ventures. Magellan set out to reunite his old band who had scattered across Drakenhold, after which he returned to the desert and announced themselves as a group of reformed, chivalrous thieves. Tales of their virtues spread even beyond the desert's borders, attracting a horde of young aspirants looking to join their ranks. As the band's numbers continued to grow, their keep became a vibrant settlement that saw steady progress under Magellan's guidance. Liza. After the Liberation disbanded, Liza joined Magellan on his journey, and met an influential trader along the way, whom she impressed with her sharp tongue and keen business acumen. While she always had been skilled in the ways of trade, she was able to build a far more profitable enterprise than she ever imagined with the funds she earned during the war. She then used her wealth to bolster the desert's economy and improve the lives of all within. Gloucester. Only dark night you get. With the war concluded, Gilbert appointed Gloucester as ruling lord over the desert. There he worked with Orban to better conditions for the people of the dunes and championed them from a position of authority. His benevolence and unshaking sense of duty earned him the adoration of citizens, who erected a statue depicting Gloucester atop his loyal steed after his eventual passing. Come on, we've got to see Travis's gang. Oh dear. They went to the Colosseum. It's kind of funny that for as much effort I put into getting Amalia over there, I never actually made that much use of her. She's an armored unit but fights more like a brawler. She does, without strong accessories, she can't do that much. It's just very unfortunate. After the war, Amalia returned to Balmorat and shattered her undefeated streak upon its rankings. Yet, despite her assured victory, the crowds never failed to cheer her on. Upon her eventual defeat many years later, she rejoiced to have met another warrior as fearless as she, and at Amalia's urging, two set forth to new horizons. Berengaria. After the war, she reformed the Tricorn Mercenaries and the band was offered a new role as Drakenhold Order of Knights. However, they chose to decline, and the mercenaries travelled the world fighting for the downtrodden and less fortunate. You have to get that grammar right. In the years to come, history would speak of their brave endeavours, and all who lived in Featherith would know the Tricorn name. Bruno! As a central figure in the reformed Tricorn Mercenaries, Bruno found himself instrumental to the band's renewed efforts. Ever striving to become Berengaria's equal on the field of battle, he easily gained the trust and respect of his fellow mercenaries, though his immense strength meant skirmishes ended before others could earn even the slightest glory. Oh dear. After the war, Travis travelled the world with the reformed Tricorn Mercenaries, proving both his skill and intellect along the way. As a lover of literature, an uncommon trait among mercenaries, he always brought rare and valuable tomes to add to his expanding library whenever work led him home. And now we see what people get up to in the main city. I can only assume you married him because that's what you were supposed to do all along. Gilbert. After the war, Gilbert was coronated as the new king of Drakenhold and immediately made a name for himself as a savvy ruler. Long had he chased his brother's shadow, yet now he stood in a light of his own making, one which filled his people with hope and joy. In years to come, history would sing his praises as a heroic king, who single-handedly delivered his land from the all-consuming ashes of war. I really regret not using him properly, but the thing is he's a buff-focused ally, and there are better buffers I can use. I don't know, it's unfortunate. He does work well if you need to delete buffs off an enemy, but again, a lot of parties can actually wipe out the enemy before they can buff themselves up. Virginia. With the war concluded, Virginia received a proposal of marriage from the newly crowned King Gilbert, an offer she gladly accepted. As a representative of Cornia and Drakenhold both, she was beloved by both nations for the strides she made toward goodwill and unity. Over the years, her bold demeanor and skillful blade work earned her the love and adoration of countless fervent admirers. After the war, the relationship between Cornia and Drakenhold was mended at last, and Lee officially entered Virginia's service. When her lady gave birth to a royal heir some years later, Lee surprised the court by doting on the newborn prince even more than his loving parents. When the prince grew old enough to wield a sword, Lee served as a stern yet kind master. We don't get to hear about the two that showed up at the last minute, I guess. They don't matter. We don't even get to give them rapport. Oh yes, the Run Killers. That's not his sister, by the way. Celeste is just a friend. After the war, Celeste continued her work leading the local Elheim militia, swooping down from the skies to aid a townsperson in danger or provide relief to an injured soldier. One person rescued by Celeste later started a business by which his customers could travel to the sites of Featherith atop a noble griffin, a venture which he named after his saviour. Gamel. Seeking to make amends for the wrongs he committed during his time with the Black Talons, Gamel and his men travelled the land, engaging in philanthropic ventures all the while. Such deeds drew the attention of his fellow thieves and other young rogues who he graciously let join the cause. His sister, having at last overcome her cruel illness, was often seen at his side. After the war, Mandarin's friendship with Gamel remained as steady as ever, and the two travelled the continent together. Eager to cheer up Gamel's now recovered sister, he invited her along to show her the incredible sights Feather has to offer. The three lived almost as family, though Gamel refused time and time again whenever Mandarin asked for his sister's hand in marriage. Oh boy. We never got to meet her. Oh, Chloe and Ridiel and a lot of unaffiliated characters, but still hanging out. I guess they could all kind of live around Elheim. After the war, Yana brought her powerful magic to bear as Cornea's court sorceress. Toward the end of her life, she tearfully retired from the king's service and returned to her swamp to teach the rising generation of witches as their wise village elder. It's said that she maintained her youthful visage until her final days, departed this world surrounded by her steadfast disciples. After the war, Selvi continued to travel the lands pursuing her research into ancient Zenoira. With the memory of the Empire's modern reign fresh in their minds, the world was eager to learn more of the deeds in the days of old. Selvi's work garnered immense interest. This deeper understanding of Zenoira's history and culture spread through Feather. Further scholars built upon Selvi's findings, thus memorializing her as a pioneer in the field. Ridiel. With the war concluded, Ridiel at least realized her dream of becoming a knight of Elheim. Though some still whispered about her half-elf blood, she unflinchingly proved herself through great skill and valor, thus silencing those who discriminated against her. In a few years' time, she came to attain even greater glory than her mother. It stood as a proud beacon of help for half-elves throughout every corner of Elheim. Alright, Dark Elves, the Dark Elf capital here. Like I said, it's hard to justify using the elven fencers, and unfortunately the two Dark Elves you get aren't elven fencers. Plus Rosalind, but she doesn't count, she's a main character. Returning to Elheim, Rosalind travelled the nation to support her brethren as they overcame the atrocities committed by Zenoira. Even amidst her busiest moments, she always made time to visit Eltalind and give her role as Augur to the Turanos. Given her a role as the Augur to the Turanos. The two spent countless hours in each other's company. After the war, Ithilien continued to stand in Rosalind's service, not only acting as her personal guard, but sharing stories of her exploits with war-struck Dark Elven children. It's said that he and a human woman lived out their days together in loving marriage. I'm sure that's related to something, but it's been so long since I recruited him, I can't remember. Raylanor. Long after the war's end, Raylanor continued to serve Rosalind as her captain of the personal guard. Having been separated from her lady during the invasion of Helheim, Raylanor gained a renewed sense of duty and refused to leave Rosalind's side even when the situation didn't call for a guard's protection. However, Rosalind herself found this dedication to be quite endearing indeed. Rosalind is apparently a very popular Alain waifu. And over here, the Light Elf capital. They just give you 2 elven archers and an elven augur. The war with Zenoira concluded, Eltalind returned to Elheim to restore its charred forests and downtrodden settlements to their long-forgotten glory and pride. By the time the nation had recovered in True, elves and humans had formed a deeper bond of unity, and the divine Tuanos commanded the respect and love of both races alike. After the war, Gledimir was reinstated as Eltalin's personal guard and served faithfully beside the divine Turnos. Though the land had entered a time of peace, she trained ever diligently with the bow. Diligently. One legend speaks of her day she spotted a vile rogue at Elheim's border, fired upon him from miles away through a crenel at Castle Laurel, piercing him with a single arrow. I actually remember this. Gledimir has a single rapport conversation with Gamel, where she mistakes him for the rogue and he says, well, it's a good thing that I'm not that guy. It brings up that she does have a grudge to grind against someone, so she did get her man in the end. Somehow. That looks like a 1 in a million shot, but I suppose I think I did give her Healing Hunter. Linalgos. After the war, Linaloga first aided in reconstruction of Elheim before swearing his loyalty to Eltalind anew, thus serving as her second in command for all of Elheim. From that moment forth, he dedicated his life to protecting Ervelda, securing Elheim and ensuring the peace of Elven land would never again be disturbed by war. Oh, Bastorius. Right, this nonsense. Unify. The word of the courageous human raised by Bestrels spread throughout Fefrith, eventually drawing the gaze of renowned historians who penned tales of her exploits in freeing Bastorius. The magnitude of her story resonated across the lands, and Unify and her heroic brethren came to be idolized by children everywhere, even those who had never once met a Bestrel. Morad. At the behest of other Bestrel bloodlines, Morad ascended the throne as the new king of Bastorius and sole surviving Lion Bestrel. Having experienced life as a human and Bestrel both, he ruled without discrimination and quickly garnered loyal support from subjects of all races and bloodlines. It's kind of unfortunate because at some point you hear someone say, I'm beginning to wonder if we really should even look for a new Lion Bestrel to be our king. And yet this happens, but I suppose he's at least ruling properly and not reinforcing the discrimination. Even after Zenoira's collapse, Ramona continued to lead the Frostblooms in aiding wounded Bestrels and restoring Bastorius to its former glory with her vast wisdom and keen insight. She also served as counsel to the new king of Bastorius, thus dedicating her life to Bestral prosperity and aiding the relations with the other lands of Fefrith. This is going to be its own episode alone. Oh boy, so these guys get their own scene. Govul. Though offered a role as Knights Captain by the new King of Bastorius, Govul declined, thus handing the prison host to a trusted subject and returning home to manage his grandfather's tavern. Despite its age, the tavern thrived for years to come as a warm, welcoming establishment, and a Trevet haven for weary Bestrels taking part in the restoration of Bastorius. With the war concluded, Bertrand lent his hammer to the restoration of Bastorius and construction of monuments to honour those fallen in battle. Every year, the anniversary of the war's end saw Bastorius blanketed in bittersweet aroma of flowers left as offerings at those memorials. Really? You're going to give one scene to Dinah? Yeah, just Dinah. I mean, I'm not complaining that much. She is actually a pretty good unit. At the suggestion of a dear friend, Dinah and the Snow Petals travelled throughout Bastorius to aid in the ongoing reconstruction efforts. Her fierce loyalty and firm leadership proved equally as useful in times of peace, and her successes saw countless hopefuls aspiring to join the Snow Petals, human and Bestral alike. In time, her distrust of humans thawed like the northern ice in the light of spring. Oh right. We never got Nina's sister back. She was just a guest party member once. After the war, Nina returned home, much to the joy and relief of Millet and her parents. Having reconciled with her family, she then departed once again to travel the world and aid in the ongoing reconstruction efforts. In time, tales of her exploits spread through the land, and admirers gathered in every town in hopes of meeting the vivacious knight. Bryce reformed the Rock Rats in True, not as bandits, but as a band of mercenaries seeking to aid in the post-war recovery of Fevrith. His kindness, humility, and eagerness to accept tasks few would dare endure saw him grow into a respectable figure among the townsfolk and his fellow mercenaries. Bryce is actually the superior hoplite to Hodrick. You wouldn't think that, but his stats are built more towards being a tank, and that's the most important thing you need in a hoplite / legionnaire like him. You don't get to recruit any of his party though, just him and Nina. And you need to have Nina to recruit Bryce. Oh, so this is where you've been hiding, Tatiana. Sharon. With the war concluded, Sharon returned to Ronmar Church to tend to the wounded. Everywhere she and her trusted companion Oakless went, they were met with kind hearts and a restored faith in the church's teachings. In time, their tale came to be immortalized in a massive stained glass window adorning the wall of their beloved Ronmort. After the war, Oakless laid down her sword in exchange for a prayer book, and thus took up residence in Ronmort Church to spread the Orthodoxy's teachings. There, her status as an angel saw her inspire fervent faith in those around her, and even without blade in hand, she forever strived to sever the encroaching roots of evil. After the war, Rhaenys led a quiet life in humble service of her Albion Abbey. Her kind, caring nature saw many of her former allies visit the church to offer their prayers and reminisce of a warm meal. In times of leisure, she would pay visits to Scarlet, and the two quickly rekindled their years-forgotten friendship. Tatiana. After the war, Tatiana travelled the world to broaden her knowledge and advance her medical studies should the plague strike again. Though she believed that faith alone would never heal the sick, she softened her stance upon witnessing the warmth, care, and curative magics the land's churches offered their people. Upon her return to Cornea, her research was greatly funded by King Alain, and in time it grew to form the central tenets of Fevrith medical practice. Unfortunately, you get so many clerics that some of them just fall behind. And Tatiana is unfortunately showing up late enough for that to happen to her. Ah yes, here's Scarlet's bodyguard, I guess? What happened with her was pretty complicated. After the war, Umar spent her days defending the Orthodoxy as a sacred knight, pursuing her study of botany all the while. So she actually likes studying flowers and plants. That explains her slightly disturbing rapport with Elterlind then. The verdant flower garden she tended to quickly became one of Albion's most sought-after pilgrimage sites. It said at times she could be seen hosting Scarlet in that very garden where the two reminisced about their distant childhoods. And we skip over Scarlet's scene because she's going to show up at the end, I bet. Oh hey, it's that random soldier that we didn't get to recruit because she's basically just a generic backing up her Jerome there. After the war, Jerome returned to Lagian and began restoring the city and its surroundings with the undying aid of his beloved citizens. Though lacking in mastery of governance, his kindness, loyalty, and the occasional baked good earned him the never-ending trust and affection of his people. Theodokia, his work with the liberation complete, Theodokia returned to Paeston and began to walk the long road towards reconstruction. His unwavering dedication toward the task at hand earned him the renewed trust of his people. and together they ushered in a new age of peace and prosperity. In time, his beloved son's grave came to be forever adorned with flowers and offerings. All rights reserved! After the war, Senatio traversed Albion to aid in the reconstruction, wherein witnessing the breath of faith in the land altered his own beliefs. Despite Scarlet's insistence, he had long declined the pontifical mitre, but in time he relented and chose to honour the trust of those who believed in him. Thereafter, as the new pontifex, he and Nigel worked tirelessly to guide the Orthodoxy down the proper path and spread its teachings to any who would listen. Senatio is the final boss of the Albion arc, not Nigel. Nigel comes around, Senatio just holds on to... He works with Belatro to keep the old pontifex quote-unquote alive, and that's kind of awful, and yet he still gets to be in charge after we're done. Oh, we don't get to hear about Alain and Scarlet's ending yet, I guess. But yeah, it's a very interesting game. If there's a sequel, I will absolutely pick it up to play. Maybe not Let's Play, because this also takes absolutely forever, especially toward the end where you want to see as much as you can. So you end up going into the same auxiliary battle over and over until you've practically created an anti-boss unit. In fact, I had 2 anti-boss units for that. It's just I feel like it could have been a bit easier to get everything, but I guess I can't complain. I wish that they had given you more units or character slots in each unit, because even if you only use named units, you don't get to use everyone. There's going to be some left over. Final epilogue. Copyright Atlas, copyright Sega. Apparently not every female character will marry Alain, but... This is the only S rank in the game. No one else has a paired ending. I guess the paired endings will not depend on who you actually do recruit. Thus, Scarlet appointed Senatio the new pontifex of the Orthodoxy, and history tells that upon accepting her role as Queen of Cornea, she and her beloved Alain travelled Feathereth to aid in its recovery. Yeah, we don't get to hear about how they ruled, we just know that they hung out together. Anyway, with that out of the way, you can now commence the quest Unicorn Overlord at the start of the final confrontation against Galerius. You can now select True Zenoiran difficulty when starting a new game. So, you remember how I used 10 items, and most of them were to sneak Dinah up to the top right with her jumps? True Zenoiran difficulty not only improves all enemies, but you only get to use 5 items. It's absolutely insane, and I don't know whether I ever want to do that. You can now explore Grand Kreen and the surrounding area, because there's one quest that we haven't done. You can now visit the altar of Polivia to return to before you perform the Rite of the Covenant. So you can redo the Rite of the Covenant to pick a new wife and to pick a new partner for Alain is how we put it, because he can perform the rite with male characters. It's just that they don't get married. Not even Adele. A new quest is now available in northwestern Cornea. You will be prompted to save clear data. You can load this data to gain access to these new possibilities. $250 hours, guys. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's hours. This is a stupidly long game. So, but yes, I need to end now. I'm way over time for this recording. I didn't expect it to be another 2-hour recording. Till next time, guys, take care. I'll see you all around.